Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on this beautiful day, November 8th, 2020. And we are blessed to have as a speaker Dan Kendrick, and we are blessed to have as a musician Christina Hildebrandt. And so Christina will start with a piece of music, please.
Can I play the same thing I just played? It bears repeating. Okay, here we go. I am not my anger, I am not my happiness, I am not my comfort, I am not my sadness. I encompass all that is resides in me. I just am. The paradox of life, to hold without crushing, to have without possessing, to feel all your feelings and just be. I am not my anger, I am not my happiness, I am not my comfort, I am not my sadness. I encompass all that is resides in me. I just am.
Thank you, Christina. Beautiful. And it's at this time that we go into prayer by taking a breath together. Beloved presence, as always, we are grateful to be gathered together. Today, we celebrate moving forward in our beloved country toward greater unification and hope. And thank you for that. And as we move forward, we all recognize the importance of staying open-hearted, of loving our neighbors, our friends, our community, even when there are differences. For you continue to show us over and over and over again that love is what wins. Love is what survives. And that is what we have to offer. And we're reminded of 2 Corinthians 4:16. Our inner nature is being renewed day by day. And so it is on this day that each of us are being renewed. And for that, we also thank you. And so it is. We'll have another piece of music from Christina. Thank you, Christina, for your magic. And again, we are blessed to have Reverend Dan Kendrick, who will be giving us an inspiring talk and leading us in meditation.
You're muted.
All right, well, I guess I'm with you, and let's see what Spirit has for us today. I'll do my best on my end to tune in to what's there, and I hope you'll join me on your end, and perhaps together we can come into that unity of spirit. It's interesting to come to the subject of unity in spirit, realizing that from my perspective, I don't have any words to describe it. So here I am supposed to give a talk meaning some kind of words that are going to somehow be meaningful. But I have faith that you and I both have the ability to go beyond the words to the true meaning, the true essence of what's present. And that the words, if they can serve as a stepping stone or as a vehicle or a facilitation of the process, that's great. And how you use it's up to you. Sometimes the talk can just give your mind something to occupy your mind and your thoughts, while that part of you that Christina was playing about, that part of you that you are, tunes in. There's somewhere along the way, I think there was talk maybe in the song about renewing. Was I hearing things? Okay, got it, okay. So it's wonderful that we have these times where we can renew, refresh, reconnect, clear. So it reminds me, I'd like to ask now for Spirit's assistance. Father, Mother, God, just now we ask your loving presence. We call ourselves forward into your loving presence. And we ask for your light, your assistance, your guidance, direction, for clearing, balancing, whatever would be for our highest good at this time. We ask that that be brought forward. And whatever is here for us to hear, or for us to see, for us to affirm, we ask that be brought forward for each one of us. And we ask this through the ministry of the Christ, and the light. And so be it. So from what I can tell, the people we have present today have heard me before. So if a moment of silence shows up, you know what to do. But if somebody's listening on tape, I don't know if I told you this, but I was sharing with the group the other day, and I went into a moment of silence, and the headmaster of the Zoom meeting, after about 30 seconds, said, Dan, your screen is frozen. And I said, no, I'm just doing a moment of silence. A lot of times in the moments of silence, I'm listening. And sometimes in the listening, there's nothing to listen to. There's nothing being said. And that may be very good news. Maybe the unspoken word is all's well. Stay tuned. And it can be a wonderful thing to come to Spirit and not having an expectation that Spirit's going to entertain you wildly. I think on one level, we've become accustomed to being entertained wildly. There can be a certain discipline in terms of coming to Spirit. I know when I started courting my wife that I have now, Kate, at the time I had not learned to keep my mouth shut. And Spirit was giving me lessons right away and rather severe at times of us having a conversation and me wanting to jump in with my response, which I knew was right. And Spirit said, just shut up and don't say a word. I mean, he went, Spirit, I say he, she, Spirit went past the point of being polite, knowing how to work with me. And it was a very clear, don't say a word. It's like, was that loving? Like, very loving. Saved me from a lot of karma that I could have seeded, that I would have had to handle later. And by that time, Spirit had my attention enough that any unnecessary experiences I could avoid, I was very open to doing that. I was very open to getting the information. I'd had enough opportunities to get the lesson, to get the information. And I started wising up and like, if I can get the information without having the lesson, I'd really like that. So Spirit said, great, we can do that. Just if you can cultivate the ability to listen to this voice inside, we can do that. So what if my learning was when I come to spirit and there's a silence? What if my learning is to let that be enough? You know, in Jesus' time, when he came to bring this message of the inner kingdom and that it's now available to everyone, many people interpreted his talk of the inner kingdom as, well, that's going to manifest here on earth. Some of them even thought that Jesus would be the new leader, the leader they always sought, that would replace the cruel governorship of Rome, that he'd be the Prince of Peace and would rule. And over time, with his ministry, he kept telling them the kingdom is within, and that this is not an outer, I'm not here to set up a new kingdom on earth. And when this, because in that time is a time of much turmoil, and there were attempts to establish a better form of government, and some of it through violent overthrow. And when it finally dawned on a lot of his followers that that wasn't going to happen, they left. And he turned to the people still there and he says, well, are you going too? And they replied something like, well, where else can we go? Who else has the words of life? So as I see it, it's a paradox. Tuesday night, I went to bed, and it appeared to me on Tuesday night that we would have a rerun of 2016, which gave me an opportunity to see how I was with all that. And I went inside and I realized the inner kingdom's present. And it's totally independent of who's in office or not in office. So would I be all right? It's like, of course I'll be all right. The kingdom of heaven is present. And that's the good news. It's a wonderful thing to know that your needs being taken care of is not dependent on what's happening in the world. Who's ruling, who's not ruling. Climate change, no climate change. But your needs are being provided from the one inside you. I was sharing with my mother-in-law last night. Actually, I'm sorry, it wasn't my mother-in-law, it was my Living Love group yesterday. It all kind of runs together after a while. But that, I've got more food than I can eat. I've got more money than I can spend. I've got a roof over my head. And by the way, when I say I've got more money than I can spend, some of you may have thought, hey, this guy must be a millionaire. You're like, no, I just have a plus in my banking account, which is proof I've got more money than I can spend. I've got a roof over my head. I've got people who love me. I've got God in my heart and the knowledge of that. And my security is not tied to what's happening in this world I find myself. Now that's wealth as I see it. Think about it. The one living in you is the one taking care of you. And that's your security. And I'm sitting here looking at each one of you and I'm going, well, here's living proof. That statement must be true because we're here. Who's doing all of this? Not just for us. Who in the world? I mean, I was looking at our election process and I was going, what a miracle. Think about it. I mean, you vote and as far as I can see, there's chances are my vote's going to be counted and it's going to be fair. How does this stuff happen? There's one doing it. And it's possible to come into greater and greater awareness of this one that's living in each one of us and expressing through each one of us that's doing this. Including the testing, including the trials and tribulations. There's nothing left out. There's a saying, God loves all of its creation. And that creation's happening all the time. I think Jesus' message was very radical because at the time, I guess Spirit just told me in a more polite way to be quiet and let me do a little speaking. Maybe we can just, as it's present, just bask in Spirit's presence, knowing all is well. Kingdom is present. You're in it. You're being held. You're being supported. You're being provided for. And maybe it's a good time just to allow this ministry to yourself. That you can allow your batteries to get recharged. If there's been anything of concern, just let it go into Spirit. See Spirit taking it, transmuting it into the unconditioned energy of Spirit. See any places that have been opened inside you, that are opening inside you. See all those places being filled with Spirit. If there's any remaining concerns, just see the light touching to those areas. It's just not allowing or receiving. You don't necessarily have to know the how or why or what, just see Spirit touching, knowing Spirit knows how to bring healing, balancing. If there's any physical ailment, just see the light touching, bringing the loving, healing. If there's any concern of any concern over the future, just give that into the light. This knowing that all's being looked after, all's being worked through. See this light going to everyone on every level, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, situation, circumstance, or environment. That we're all loved. We're all cherished. We're all children of God. Again, regardless of our race, creed, color, religion, situation, circumstance, or environment. We all have our place here. We all have our right to express who we are, exactly who we are at this time, what we believe, to experience our process. Regardless of race, political affiliation, color, situation, circumstance, country, or environment. To see this love embracing all, see us all holding hands, celebrating our diversity, celebrating our unity and diversity. See the light containing, working with each person, each situation, using everything, not only for an individual growth, learning, and evolvement, but for the collective learning, growth, and involvement. And you might also just see yourself as this conduit of light and love. Where you are, where the space you occupy that nobody else occupies. That you are the light. God is with you. You are the beloved of God. And all is well. And so it is.
Thank you, Dan, as always. Thank you for bringing us to a peaceful place. And we will have a piece of music from Christina.
Dan, thank you for that reminder that we have inside of us this eternal presence. And I'm glad that the song that I've chosen today fits in with that idea. It's called How Can I Keep From Singing? My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear a joyful melody that cuts through all affliction. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear that music ringing. It brings me joy with every breath. How can I keep from singing? Each time I see that through my fear, a peaceful nature shining, with love of friends both near and far, how can I keep from singing? The storms don't shake me deep down, while to the tune I'm listening, with love for all beings in my heart. How can I keep from singing? The storms don't shake me deep down, while to that tune I'm listening, with love for all beings in my heart. How can I keep from singing?
Delightful, Christina. Thank you. And it's at this time that we go into our donation of love and light by taking a breath together and placing our hands on our heart, becoming so fully aware of that love and light that resides in each of us, and allowing it to expand beyond ourselves and to be shared with anyone who can benefit. We don't need to make the decision, the love and light will. And so it is. And we will finish with a piece of music, Christina.
We'll see. I'm like Dan right now. I'm going to see what happens. I apologize for my husband's cell phone.